is Laura from LiveVisions.com, and I wanted to give you some information on psychic indicators and what they are. And first I want to talk a little bit about clairsentience, clairvoyance, clairaudience, and mediumship. Okay, well, clairvoyance is an extrasensory perception of feeling and sensation. You know, these people, my mom had this, and usually these people can tell when someone's sick, even if they're not around them. Like sometimes some people have the gift of, I feel this pain, but I know it's not me. You know, my mom used to say, I think somebody's having a heart attack. And I'd say, why? She's like, my heart's hurting, my chest pains, but it's not my pain. I can't explain it. You know, and she'd call up my grandma, and sure enough, she was in the hospital for a heart problem. So people like this can have this sort of thing. But I will say also they're the type of people where they pick up on people's feelings right away. They can tell what they're feeling and what they need. You know, these people can be highly nurturing. And I will say just be psychic in the way of picking up on people's emotions, feelings, and sometimes their physical ailments, you know. Now, usually when somebody has this, you have a very strong Cancer in your chart, or your 4th house is activated in some way, okay? And we'll talk a little bit more later about that, but especially if your 4th house is ruled by Cancer too, or if your moon is in Cancer in the 4th house, you know, that's one of them too. But we'll get into more indicators as we go on. But now clairvoyance is clear vision, mind's eye. Kind of like, now these are the type of people who get messages in dreams, and I do get calls sometimes, and some people say, well, I didn't know if it was a dream or if it was a vision or what it was. And I will say the difference between a visit, you know, these people can have visits from people who passed over in dreams, or they can have just a vision of the future through a dream, okay? Like Edgar Cayce used to have that, the well-known psychic. Now, the difference, how you know this, and I have this actually, the difference between a regular dream and this is when you have a visit, or if you're having like a premonition dream, it is super clear. You remember every detail, okay? It's not choppy. Like a regular dream would be kind of choppy, and, you know, it goes from one thing to the next, and, you know, it's your mind is kind of working out, your subconscious is working itself out in your dream. But this is different. When you're getting a message or a premonition thing, or if you're getting a visit from someone who's passed on, it is super vivid, super clear. You can remember like every detail. That is the difference, okay? Now, another thing that you guys can have, people who have clairvoyance, is remote view. And I also have this. And what this is sometimes you can get messages and it comes to you like a video clip. Like you could see images of this, this, and this, you know. And that's when you see psychics say, well, I'm seeing this person wearing this, or they look like this, or they're giving me this. They're presenting something to me. Or like they get an image of it, you know. Or I see that I having an image of this in my head. And those are people who are clairvoyant. They see things through their mind's eye. And I have it, and it more so comes to me like a video clip. Image, image, image. And then you can kind of figure out what it is, you know. It may not have meaning to you, but it has meaning for the person that you're reading for. Okay. And now these people usually have a very strong Pisces and Neptune in their chart. Also the 12th house. This is also ruling by the 12th house. Okay? Now there's something called clairaudience. And clairaudience is where you could hear sounds and words, and you have an extra sensory perception, people who have this, okay? And I get this because I will say that I have, you know, when I do get like clips, I can hear things too. Like you can hear someone saying something, and you think like, you know, but you know it's not something that's verbally said to you. You know it's beyond that. And a lot of people who do have this have a sensitivity to sound. And I know my sister and I both have this, and we're always like, oh my, like little noises upset us. Like you would laugh. I have my microwave on silent because it just, I don't know what it is, but that beep, beep, it just annoys the crap out of me. But anyway, but yeah, So people who have clairaudience have Mercury and Uranus very strong in their chart, okay? All right. And I'm going to go into exact placements in a minute for all of these. So now, if you have the gift of mediumship, and mediumship is communication with the other side, able to talk to people who have passed on. Now, this is usually very strong if you have a very strong Scorpio sign in your chart, like ascendant or something. Your 8th house is really activated in your chart. If you have Pluto that's really strong in your chart, or Mercury, especially if Mercury's in that 8th house, or if it's in Scorpio or conjunct Pluto or something like this, this could be very strong for you. Okay. Now going forward, there's so many indicators. I wrote a lot of them down, but I didn't get to every single one because there are so many. But I will tell you. And again, as I kind of get into here, psychic indicators are usually if you have more than a few in your chart. Like usually really good psychics have like 5 or more. However, if your ascendant is ruled by Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio, you may not have as many, but you could really still be gifted because that is who you are. You know, let's face it, your ascendant is who you are. So I went to all these already, and then I go into the moon and Neptune and Pluto. I'm not going to get into that here, but now here we go. Now, if you have on your ascendant, like I said, I just said that just now, Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces, you could be highly psychic and intuitive. The same thing as if you have your sun in Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio, that's also, because your sun is your soul, that's who you are at a deep level, and this could also indicate psychic ability. Your moon in Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces can be really highly intuitive and even empathic. I forgot to add empathic there, but you can also be psychic as well, okay? Now, if your 1st, 4th, 8th, and 12th house rulers are in Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, that is a psychic indicator as well, okay? Now, if you have your 4th house, you have planets such as the moon, Pluto, Neptune, Mercury, or the sun. Your 4th house rules being intuitive and clairsentient. So this could have great meaning as far as those gifts are concerned, okay? Now, if you have planets in your 8th house, such as the sun, moon, Pluto, Neptune, or Mercury, as the 8th house rules mediumship ability, okay? Now, if you have planets in your 12th house, such as the moon, Pluto, Neptune, Mercury, the sun, as this house rules clairvoyance, psychic ability through the mind's eye, dreams, or remote view, okay? And if your moon is conjunct, trine, or sextile Neptune, it can bring you like keen psychic sensitivity, okay? If your moon is sextile, conjunct, or trine Uranus, you can have keen intuition and healing power. Now, if your moon is in Virgo or Aquarius, you can be intuitive with this as well. If the moon is conjunct your south node, this could, I have this, and it's not fun, but just, it can give you psychic ability with mediumship connecting to people on the other side. The south node, don't forget, is a malefic planet, so it can give you, you can connect to people who are kind of undesirable, you know, like people who haven't crossed over, or like, it's a malefic planet, you know. So sometimes, you know, I would have very scary things happen that I did not like, and this was my moon conjunct my south node, you know. Just so you know, it wasn't fun. I think I'm going to do a video on healing crystals, because that's when I started getting into crystals, and I carry a black tourmaline stone, and it's against psychic attack or, you know, negative energy, all that stuff. And I have a few stones. I think I should do a video on those. Let me know if you want to see a video on that. But anyway, so the next one is Neptune conjunct or trine Pluto. You can have a strong psychic ability, clairvoyance, and prophetic ability, and have precognitive dreams and healing ability. Opportunity to use your ability for the benefit of humanity. Now, I have my Neptune sextile Pluto, so especially if it's sextiling Pluto, it means that you have an opportunity to use this to help others, okay? Now, Mercury in Pisces, which I also have, this can be a psychic, visionary, highly intuitive, or telepathic gift. Now, have you ever had it where, like, you're thinking of someone and you want them to call you and you're not going to, but you're thinking of them and they call you? Like, I had this a lot. Like, where I would be thinking of someone and they'd say, well, were you thinking about this? Because I don't know why I was thinking about this, you know. And it's so cool. If you have this, you should try it. It's, I don't know. I've done this and it works. So anyway. Mercury in Pisces can also make you kind of dreamy and a creative type of thinker, you know. I always say people who have Mercury in Pisces, you know, they're the ones who make the Harry Potter books are very, they could be, you know, look at the over-romanticize things too mentally, you know. But anyway, but that's not psychic. Anyway, Neptune in Sagittarius, which I also have, has the ability to develop clairvoyance, okay? Mercury conjunct Neptune is highly intuitive and can receive psychic impulses. Now, Saturn in Cancer has very strong psychic tendencies. Now, if you have Pluto in the 12th house, you can have a high willingness to be a channel to help those who are limited or afflicted. Now, if you have Jupiter in Pisces, you could be a visionary and very intuitive. You have a grand water trine in your chart. This means, it says psychic energy if used. What that means is, like, whenever you have a trine, things kind of come easy to the person. Unless you have some oppositions or squares, they usually give you the drive to kind of make those things happen, you know. And I always say when you have a trine, if you don't use it, you lose it, you know. So this means that these people have the ability, but whether they use it is up to them. So if they have a grand water trine in their chart, it's strong, with, then, you know, if they don't, you know, they could use it for, you know, psychic ability. Now, if you have a grand air trine, which I have, you could have a lot of intuitive ability if it's used, okay? Now, if you have your North Node in Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio, you could develop psychic ability in this life, okay? Yes, and that's also if you have your North Node in the 8th house, too. Now, if you have your South Node in Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio, that means that you've developed psychic ability in the past life, and you're a natural-born psychic in this life. I have my South Node in Cancer as well. All right, so anyway, what's another one? Okay, North Node in the 8th house. I just talked about that. It opens the door in this life to the psychic world, to out-of-body experiences, and to the astral plane. If there are more than 3 psychic intuitive indicators are shown in the chart, okay? So that means that if you have more than 3 indicators, probably you'll be developing this in your chart, in your life. Now, if you have your North Node in the 9th house, it opens the door to prophetic, mystical, visionary types of, and if you have 3 or more intuitive psychic indicators present in the chart, then this will probably develop in your life. Now, if you have your North Node in the 12th house, which my dad had, and it's funny, but anyway, it says that it indicates unconscious intuitive psychic abilities may be difficult to access or recognize in this house. And it's funny, my father had this. His mom, my grandma, was a medium, and he used to always be embarrassed. Like, oh my God, don't do this. Don't embarrass me. Don't read a person. Don't say you saw a dead person. Don't, you know, as kids, we were afraid to go to her house because she would be, we don't want it. My dad's like, there's no such thing as ghosts. Don't listen to your grandma, you know. We were afraid to go to her house, you know. And as I got older, I remember my father, you know, always being able to, if I dated someone, and he would say, he would just pin that person down, like right when he met them. And I would, you know, you don't want to believe the person. No, it's not true. They're not like this. And sure enough, he was right. He was very intuitive in that way. And he was the type, he could sum up anybody. He could just meet someone and just tell you the type of person they were. You know, he was really good at that. But I will say he didn't really recognize his gift until he was dying. And because he used to always say, like he didn't want to talk about the stuff in my family. My mom's grandma had it, my dad's mom had it, and my mom was gifted, and he was too, but he would deny it. If you asked him, are you psychic or something, he would deny it. No, he would say, I just know people. But when he was passing away, he acknowledged that. So I wonder if the 12th house is, you're kind of in denial too, I wonder, because that's how he was anyway. But he did believe in the psychic realm. He did believe in it. You know, as I got older and I had gifts and I started talking to him, and he would say, you know, yes, this can happen, and your grandmother was like this, and you know, so he did believe in it. He just didn't want people to judge family members because of it. So he didn't like to talk about it. Anyway, The next one is Jupiter in Aquarius. There's a few of them here. Mars in Cancer, Mars in Pisces, Jupiter in Pisces, Jupiter in the 3rd house, Jupiter in the 11th house, Jupiter in the 9th house, Neptune in the 9th, Neptune in the 12th, Pluto in Scorpio, Pluto in the 4th house, 8th or 9th house, and Uranus in the 8th house can have strong intuitive abilities, okay? Now, Uranus in Pisces is psychic, intuitive, extremely sensitive, and if well aspected, can indicate an advanced soul who has come here to serve the planet in some philosophical or religious way. They're spiritually psychic, okay? Anyway, I hope this helps you out and gives you some indication as you know, what some psychic indicators are. And I want to point out a chart. Let me go to the beginning of the site here. I just want to move this down. And I am going to go back to the Royal Baby and the blog here. The reason I'm going to go to this Royal Baby's chart, this little guy's got some indicators in his chart. Do you see his, okay, his ascendant is Scorpio, which is huge, okay, big time, all right? Not just that, but his 4th house is ruled by a water sign. Remember I said you're going to look at the water houses, the 1st, the 4th. You're going to also, well, the water houses are really the 4th, the 8th, and the 12th, but the ascendant is huge because it's who you are. So he has his ascendant ruled by a water sign. His 4th house is ruled by Pisces, which is a water sign. His 8th house is ruled by Cancer, which is a water sign. And let's see, his 12th house is ruled by Scorpio, which is also a water sign. This kid is really gifted. So he has a lot, right there I just gave you a bunch of indicators, okay? Now another one is, look at these planets he has in the 8th house. He's got the Sun, he's got Mercury there, you know, Jupiter. So I really feel, judging by this little guy's chart, and if he had his moon in Cancer, that would have been kind of cool too, but I really feel, and when y'all check this out, he has Neptune in Pisces, which is another indicator, okay? So, you know, just by looking at this chart here, I really feel that this little one is, oh, check it out, sorry, his North Node is also in the 12th house. In this life, he's meant to develop his psychic gifts and spirituality, all right? So that's another one. But, you know, I really feel like he's going to be one of these intuitive type of people where he just kind of knows people. He's going to be secretive. He's not going to give too much information about himself. And he's going to really be inquisitive about other people. Scorpio Ascendant is very inquisitive, but they're very reluctant to give you information about themselves, okay? Now, with all these planets in the 8th house, he's going to be interested, I feel strongly, in metaphysics. I feel strongly in, he may be the type to get to the bottom of things. Research, he may like that. But he could have mediumship abilities. This is a person who's not only could be psychic because he's got these planets in Cancer, which rules clairsentience abilities, okay? But because he's ascendant in Scorpio, okay, and these planets being in the 8th house represent mediumship ability, and so does that ascendant. So he could have mediumship abilities, and he could also be very just, you know, have extrasensory perception when it comes to feelings and sensations, you know. So he could be very much so clairsentient. And not only that, he has a very strong Neptune, okay? So his Neptune could also make him a little bit clairvoyant, you know. It's just really interesting. I'm fascinated by this little one's chart. But anyway, that is my synopsis of, you know, psychic indicators. I hope this was helpful to you. Please leave comments below. And there's more indicators, just so you know. I could not write them all down. There's so many. But I gave you some main ones. You're really looking at the water signs, and you're looking at the water houses. If you have like water sign planets in water houses, especially, if you have a water sign ascendant, especially, if your moon is in a water sign, especially, if your sun's in a water sign, big time, if you have planets in that 8th house, okay, and if you have planets in the 12th house that are especially like the moon or Neptune or Pluto, if you have anything like Moon, Neptune, or Pluto in the 8th house, the 4th house, or the 12th, that's an indicator. And I will say Mercury, too. Mercury in the 8th can indicate mediumship abilities. You know, that's somebody, especially if somebody had well, if they had a strong Mercury, or if they had a strong Aquarius, you know, that can indicate somebody who is clairaudient, you know, they can hear. So anyway, this was my synopsis of psychic indicators. I hope you found it helpful, and I will talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.